What is up, guys? Here we go. The moment of truth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Well, no, boys and girls should not be watching. This is definitely going to be a strong PG-13. And I want to apologize for the delay in getting the video out. Justin can attest, I actually did lose my voice, which turned into a cold. But it's kind of funny because you never really imagine a world where RFK Jr.'s voice actually sounds better than another person. But yeah, it was terribly sick. But and I think it's actually probably a good thing that I got sick because, yeah, the original video that I was going to do was a lot. Yeah, this is just going to be a strong PG-13, so we'll just leave the other one, let the other one be. But being completely transparent, I did get called this past Monday, sorry, this past Monday, from one of the members on the forums who kind of gave me a little insider baseball as to why Nick and Alex are obsessed and simping for the salty stuff. Which essentially he had to say that they're paid ambassadors, that they helped test, design, and promote the salty products. And because they have skin in the game, they inherently will defend the stuff to the death. And his example that he gave, which I'm not going to oust him, if he wants to come out in the forums and say, yeah, this is true, I'm sure they'll deny it. But, if he wants to do that, he can. But his example that he gave which was the best example, was like the barrel video, where the dye clearly was the better one. Now, I tried finding that. I couldn't find it to watch it, to verify it, but I trust the individual. He has no skin in the game whatsoever, but he does love these products. And he just, I think, was trying to get me to be a little bit more even-keeled, which, like I said, we're going to take the video moving forward through this lens that these are both brand ambassadors. Now, this could either be good for them or bad for them. I don't know. I mean, wouldn't you like to know that these people that are promoting these products, whether they be good or bad, be disclosed, whether the fact that they're not necessarily getting paid, but in the sense that they are, brand ambassadors for the brand. I mean, they did help test and design, and a lot of that's probably obvious to most of the public. But to us, it's just you should technically disclose it. And like I said, I believe him, so we'll just continue the video sort of through that lens. But another shout out to Justin. Thank you for sending this. This is a great teaching tool. I think this is going to be really good for folks to kind of see what happens. And so we want to give a shout out to Justin. Thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate that, instead of, chickening out like the other two guys. But all that said, to start off, why we're going so hard into the paint and refuting these two folks. And it's really two reasons that I have boiled down, which is intellectual dishonesty and lying. Not giving you the actual information and basically just, oh, it didn't work for me, so therefore it must not work for you. So, and that's essentially where it is. It's the same two people having the same two issues. Okay, now we were prepared for this. Okay, and we would have nothing to have said had they done the correct thing, like any other online reviewer. Linus Tech Tips, which, yes, he's gotten some heat for being paid to say good things about bad products. I guess maybe once you get big enough, that's just what happens. But going to something like him, where he'll bring out 3 or 4. Let's just say they, hey, just got these poppets in. Here are the 3 or 4 different styles. Here's the benefits of each. Here's the negatives of each. Let's try it. Oh, hey, didn't work for me, but it might work for you because these benefits are great. If they actually do deliver on those benefits. I think that's a fair sort of assumption. We would have had nothing to say. We wouldn't have said anything. Oh, and then following the instructions actually is like a big deal. You actually got to follow the instructions. We would have had nothing to say, but they didn't do this. Okay, they didn't express the gains of the product, and they didn't express the negatives of the product properly. They didn't even really let you know, I think, except for one comment by Nick was, oh, must be the 1 in a million. Really? Wow, I didn't know that there was a million of these out there. That's awesome. That would be awesome if there was. And for kind of further proof, we do have some examples on a tablet here. And again, this is a really shoddy way of doing it, but unfortunately it's the only way that we can do it, because I just, I'm still learning how to do this camera stuff. But I tried finding a post that Alex made, and it literally said this, and it was on Justin's post, which might have been removed when he let everyone know that it was leaking. But Alex was like, oh, well, what is that now? It doesn't work on the Ripper, the Texas Storm, and the Status. As if that means it doesn't work for any body of those cuts. As if that doesn't mean it doesn't work for any Texas Storm, any Ripper, or any Status. Really? Well, that's just intellectually dishonest. That's purely dishonest. That's a false statement, okay? As if they're all designed differently and therefore it's not going to work for anybody. And that's just not true, okay? Both of their issues come from the fact that they assisted Jared in making a substitute of the brown material, okay? And it's what we stated before. They created a fix for a problem that did not exist. Okay? People just don't know that. They don't know the reason of why they were having issues with the donuts, with their hisses coming down their Viz engines or their supercharged engines. They just don't know. Both of these have to be concentric. It had nothing to do with this being a shitty material. Okay, and in true baller fashion, what did they do? They convinced Jared to create a fix that allows ballers to run around with a bad blast guide. So they created a fix to allow people to run around with bad parts. That's literally what they did. Gosh, it's the most baller shit I've ever heard. Now, baller in this case is not a good word. So, it's just that I have no words. It's just like you're not telling people and explaining them the reason why something doesn't work. You just assume, oh, it must be bad. Instead of just like, oh no, these got to be concentric. If they are, this is the best possible option. And let's just take a look at the damn description for his donut, shall we? And this is where it gets rough to do it. But you can look at his description where it literally says, some initial shots might be required to do a full seat. Oh, shit, I can't see it. Anyway, you can go on his website and take a look at it. There it is. Sorry, that's that was one of our sort of, I guess, if I was doing this normally, that would be like a slide, right? We'd have pop up on overlay so you could actually see it. You can go take a look at the donut description there, where they talk about having to seat it. Oh, I don't see them bitching about having to seat that thing. They might say, oh, well, it's easier. Well, yeah, it's a softer material. No duh. It's easier. It's going to conform. So looking at this as a whole, the salty poppet is not necessarily a bad poppet. It's an O-ring sealing surface. Of course it fucking works. It's an O-ring. It's designed to always work. That's what it is. It conforms to what it sits on. Teflon's, it's harder than obviously an O-ring, but again, conforms to what it sits on. Actually, in all reality, Teflon deforms quite faster than a lot of people think that it does. It really does. Okay, but there's benefits and drawbacks to all types of material that you're using. But to try to push it that it's in some way better than a harder material, well, we're about to find out here in a second. Well, that's just sure not true. Okay, so this is what we come to Justin's marker. Now, you're not really going to be able to see this. We can kind of see it, but I got a great old picture of it. Right up in there. Okay, see all that? But let's just go to the picture. Let's just, this is your future, salty owners. Nice big old zoom up of Justin's inner sealing surface. That is shaved off metal. That is shaved off metal. That is shaved off metal. All that is his inner wall getting decimated by that salty poppet. This is your future. And to be completely fair to the salty crew, this is your future if you use your salty poppet repeatedly. Now, there could be maybe there's some abnormality, although it's not. I've seen not this heavy, but I've seen stuff like this happening before. Okay, we just always swapped out the poppets. We didn't mess with it. We just swapped them out. This is something that we have seen. Again, this is the heaviest version. Okay, but in all honesty, Nick and Alex don't take their Intimidators out every weekend. Justin does. His didn't look like this before. He put in the salty poppet. He uses it regularly. Okay, but you have to change that O-ring all the time. Those O-rings can get shredded if you're playing every weekend. But you can clearly see what we said would happen literally happen. That's why this is such a good, training tool. And unfortunately for Justin, this body's fucked. He's either going to have to use the Teflon or the O-ring forever, unless someone decides to try to make a jig to redo those, which even this, it's going down the side of his wall. This is a bummer. Okay, but his body's bad. I mean, for anyone owning a salty poppet, and just for you want to soak it in some more, for anyone owning a salty poppet, I'd chuck that sucker in the trash as fast as possible. I would chuck it in the trash so fast, and I would check your seat. Maybe you have to use it. You might be stuck using it. Okay, if you're not changing O-rings, let's soak it in again. There's your future. If you're using that thing repeatedly. And there was some more dishonesty that was said about this. Let's take a gander. He posted this. You can see the wear on the outside of the poppet of his ring. Here's Methods, wonderful, I'm going to get this thing. Wonderful response. Oh, shit, it's upside down. Well, I'll read it. This happens on nearly every paintball part. OEMs usually just anodize the part clear to hide it. That is not why people anodize parts. Yes, some manufacturers realize that they don't have the same type of concern for, let's just say, bolts, so they anodize those. Name me where that rubbing is coming from. See, again, this guy should just own it. Well, that part might be bad. He can't even say that. They can't even get that out. Well, that one might be bad. Maybe it's oversized. Maybe the sides are out of tolerance. I mean, that could be an option. The rubbing's got to come from somewhere. You're certainly not getting it from an O-ring. I mean, really? The O-ring is rubbing off the black oxide? Are you fucking dumb? Sorry, that was a little, dig. My bad. But in any case, this is what I'm saying about intellectual dishonesty. It really is crazy to me. I think people really think that we're fighting against aftermarket parts. We're not in any way. Stock parts have always been the best in these, okay? It is a proven thing that they work and they work well. It is our goal to prove upon our previous iterations, which was the Teflon. The brown material is better for longevity. The brown material is better for efficiency. The brown material is better for durability. It is our goal, our goal is not to fight aftermarket parts or anyone else, which I think these guys are trying to stoke. Nick and Alex are trying to stoke something. We don't give a shit how it sounds, or if it felt different, without redesigning the entire thing, which is obviously everyone knows is in the works, not by us, but by Field 1. This is the best possible situation that you could get yourself into for that, without redesigning the whole thing. So stop. This information is not coming from an armchair engineer like these three crackheads. It is literally coming from the guy that invented this marker. Our engineer, all the stuff that we made comes from the original person who made it from the very beginning. We are not at war with Salty, and we're not at war with anyone else for that matter. Leaving aside the fact, this is just where things kind of get, again, this is the PG-13 video, so give me a break, guys. Leaving aside the fact that they think the Gamma Core is a Puppet-based engine, they think, which is laughable. You can go see our tech's post on that one. It's absolutely the biggest mic drop of the century. You can see, where they say, oh, there's 100,000 of those in the market. Absolutely laughable. You don't see us commenting on how many units in 2025 we've had to rip Salty's parts out of just to get the thing to work. Again, absolutely humiliatingly laughable. Leaving aside his incorrect comments about the rocket valve and flow. Don't even get me started on his comments about the flow. Not even mentioning the fact that they fixed the reg tops, the reg centers, which was an unknown that Alex is the one who found that out, by the way. Oh, where was he to mention that? Okay. All of that aside, you notice how we don't do those things. I wish we just did, but I digress. So where does this leave us? Why did theirs fail? I believe it failed for a couple of reasons. First, they very well know that their bodies could be bad, that they have a known bad. They probably bought it off eBay. Maybe it was bad. Okay, they have a known bad, which that's probably why they fucking went to Jared in the first place, to get that thing made. That wouldn't be the only baller thing that they tried to produce or create a fix for. Or, and this is what I think it is, and just straight fucking common sense, but hey, who knows? Maybe I'm just the only one with a little bit of it. The stock poppet essentially seals at a wrench. Now, once you get it seated, the sucker will seal under, 12 PSI? That doesn't, So just take what I'm saying. The HPR runs at 150 to 180. Yes, there's outliers. I don't want to hear weekend warriors commenting, mine runs at 145, or mine runs at 200. Yeah, it can go outside the ranges. But it's about 150 to 180 PSI. So if you know that the stock runs at about 180 or 150 to 180 PSI, and you know you have to overpressurize this motherfucker in order to get it to seal, then do you think it's going to seal at 150? Or do you think it's going to seal at 160? Do you think it's going to seal at 170? Go see Alex's video. For the sake of time, I'm not going to pull it up. But plus, you wouldn't be able to see this damn iPad anyway. But you can go take a look at it. All right? You can go take a look at Alex's video. His gauge doesn't go over 170. In fact, I don't even think it goes over 155. Nick's video, you can go to the timestamp, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Okay? He still has little threads popping out there, and he just does like this. Then he gives up. He's like, oh, no, shit, doesn't work. I must be 1 in a million, man. Must be 1 in a million. Doesn't work. Now, if you know you have to overpressurize this, which they both did in order to get this to work, it says it's not a drop-in part. Plus, we also said that there are going to be known bads out there that this won't work for. We perfectly disclosed it. This is what I would do. Common sense says this. You degas the gun. Do a little bit of that action. Degas the gun. Remember, make sure to take out your LPR spring so it's not shoving air to your Noid. You'll be fine. It's not going to hurt anything. Do a little bit of that. Maybe some of that. You can even, a little extra. Then try airing it up. Oh, I wonder what happens. Okay? And if it does something, maybe give it a little more oomph. The low pressure spring stack in these, they pretty much max out in those guns just due to the distance at like 350, 400. It ain't no 800 like they kept saying. See, again, another intellectually dishonest statement. So it's like, not that you need 350. You don't. You're just pushing it in like what? That much. Good criminy, just to get the air behind it, or on top of it, to create a seat. You let it sit overnight, voila. It's not like this is that hard or that's what I'm saying. The intellectual dishonesty is just so pervasive with these two dudes that's why we went to this length to create this video. Okay? You turn on, pressurize it, it'll work. Now, granted, option 1 may still be on the table. They may know that they have a known bad. But, being that we're open, to assist, we're going to adjust our notes for the Puppet, because apparently those guys couldn't handle those notes, although the 150 or so that we've sold, all those guys got it. So I don't know, maybe those two are special. But all in all, what is the prescription? What is our prescriptions? Okay? We're happy to do this free of charge. Free of charge, send it in, we'll install it, we'll set the pressures, just cover shipping, we'll send it back to you. Done deal. Okay? Or, we got new instructions. You can follow that. As long as you do, you'll be fine. Stop listening to armchair engineers who are so beholden to their own biases that they're willing to just slander a product just because they want to say that the salty shit's the best thing on fucking earth. Yeah, well, let's see about Justin. He got saltied. Look at that guy. Poor dude. I feel so bad for this guy. I do. In fact, I'm probably going to try to see if we can make something to redo the inner ceiling surfaces of these. Which is ironic, because that's exactly what Alex said. Sorry, I don't create scripts for these things, so I'm just actually talking to talk. But it's just, it's just funny. So we're no longer addressing this. This is over. This little saga of nonsense is dead. We've sold a massive amount. None of these guys have issues. However, I think the community should hold Alex's feet to the fire, because technically, he had this magical number of 13 days and then minus, 2 people, which is that just shows you everything you need to know about that guy. 13 days minus 2 customers that have issues. So basically 1 customer in 13 days. Well, it's been 13 days and there's only been 1 customer that's had a problem, which was Nick. So they should both have to send it in. And then we can do a video. And I don't know that we do that. We probably just say, hey, we got it to work. We won't do a shame video because we don't need to shame anybody here, even though that's, I guess, what they're going to call this video. I don't know. Maybe he's not going to follow through. Maybe he is. But there is one special note. So like I said, the saga's done. We're done with it. If you guys have any questions, you can email us. There is a special mention at the end of the video because the guy said something. He just tried to blame excuse me, tried to blame the Emax. It was Ryan. Yeah, Ryan Miller. He sent in a G6R for repair. He had a body swap that he bought off eBay. Had it sent to us so we could swap it out because his other body was bad. We did get his thing running. I'm just going to post this here so you guys can freeze frame and you can read those emails, but it very clearly states we got it working. And then let me get the chrono picture so you guys can see that. That was the chrono picture that we emailed him in those emails. You can see it 3/2 over chrono. His sucker was shooting lights out. It did drop to 152. We did offer to have Adam investigate. And if you go back and pause and zoom in on those emails, you can see his response to us. Nope, I'll take her from here. Send her on out. So, his has nothing to do with the Emax. He's got some other shit going for it. But I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to make a prediction that since he's sending it to, ironically enough, Alex, that they're going to use that, probably put in an own bad or do something else to fudge it up and basically say, oh, it was just the Emax. We swapped this out with all salty stuff in it, and it worked flawlessly, even though Ryan had to switch out all salty stuff to get it up working in the first place. So, look, this isn't a war between us two. I know it sounds like that, but I think if the community really looks at it, it's, 2 guys stoking, Nick and Alex stoking the fire where one just doesn't exist. you know, it really doesn't. So it's a little of a bummer that we had to make this long video to begin with. Really love the community. You guys are the best. But, you know, like I said, it's kind of an unfortunate thing that this is the way that it ended up working. My phone's getting really dim, so I think it's about to die. So I'm going to have to shut this sucker off. But in any case, you guys have any questions, customer service at blastlegacy.com. We'll help you out. Like I said, send it in. We can put it in there and install it, you know, and then just cover shipping. Appreciate you. All right, take care.